让我直观感受到了职场对女性的不公。
Today, I directly felt the unfairness that the workplace shows toward women. I am married but not pregnant, and I am 28 this year. I interviewed at a company, and after we talked, both HR and the manager were very satisfied. They even took me to tour the office, and they were explaining the entire plan for the department. In the end, when it came to the pregnancy issue, I felt the vibe was off. On the way back, HR replied to me directly, saying my professional skills were very comprehensive, and there was no problem at all, but the department planned to recruit again. I said, "Then can you tell me what I am lacking?" She said I am great, there is no problem, but she just would not say the reason. The recent rejections I have had are also related to this. A few days ago, an HR called me, and the first question on the phone was, "Are you married? Do you have a child?" As soon as I explained my situation, she directly said, "Our salary for this position might not meet your expectations," and then hung up. Isn't Sichuan removing the marriage restriction for childbirth now, and unmarried girls can also have children? Then this is basically telling girls not to work at all. When will the reality of women's survival in the workplace change? Otherwise next time I will just say I do not want children.
不是现在找工作都这么难的吗？
Is it really this hard to find a job now? Today I went to apply for a sales position. At the beginning, during communication, he asked me to send my bare face photo, plus daily life photos, all of them, front view and side view. After I sent them, he called me and said, "Hello, you can come for an interview this afternoon." I said okay, and then I hurried over. After I arrived, he said today's interview would be done personally by the boss, but the boss was receiving an important client right now, and he still had to catch a flight in the afternoon. He told me to go directly to the lobby of a hotel next door. I thought, well, it is all local anyway, there is nothing to be afraid of, so I went. After I went, I waited for a while and the boss finally came. At first the questions were normal. For example, he asked what my major was, what my expected salary was, and whether I had done similar work before. Then I told the truth. I said, "Boss, I am a fresh graduate, I do not expect a high salary, anything is fine, having a job is already good." But later his tone started to shift. He said, "Do you have a boyfriend? How many relationships have you had before?" Then I felt very strange. I said, "Boss, that is my privacy, it is not convenient to say." He froze for a second, then he said, "I see," and then he started asking other work-related questions. He asked whether I could accept socializing at night, like drinking, whether I could accept that kind of socializing. I said maybe not really. I said because my alcohol tolerance is not very good. Then he said, "You may not be suitable for our position, you are still too young, and you do not really understand clients' thoughts and clients' needs." He said that in sales we must do our best, use our greatest ability to satisfy a customer's wishes. He said, "You are still young, you do not understand these things." At that moment, I felt that it is too hard for women to find a job.
真的 HR 就是搅屎棍哦。
I want to say, many companies' HR are just shit stirrers. Today I applied for a job, and the position I applied for was a specialist role. The company's HR was a young girl, and her title was Human Resources Director. I took a look, and the company's size was about 20 to 50 people. I guess it was only around 20 or 30 people. Then that girl asked me, "At your age, you still have not had a child, and you are applying for a specialist role, don't you think that is strange?" I said, "For the position you are hiring for, all the requirements, whether job requirements or industry requirements, I meet them all, what is the problem?" Then she said, "Can't you understand? At your age, you are still applying for a specialist role?" Hearing this, I almost wanted to laugh. Some companies, these small companies with only a few dozen people, give you a human resources director title, and you think you are amazing? Also, some young people nowadays, in this society, not everyone can make it to management, so do the rest of the people not deserve to live, not deserve to work? Also, everyone's intelligence is different. When I was young, I also worked in management, but because I have a family, I want to balance my work and my family. I know that with a job like mine, if you are in management, it is impossible to get off work on time from 9 to 6. But I want a job where I can leave on time, with weekends off, so I chose a grassroots role. So what, is that not allowed? Either develop toward management, or develop toward a senior professional direction. Young people nowadays, I just think, how should I put it, when you get older, you will have that day too. You cannot be human resources director forever and then become the boss, right? At 30, some people are still at the grassroots level, and at 30, some people are already CEOs of listed companies. I really cannot understand young people nowadays. I am not trying to lecture young people, but if you have time, read more books, your understanding of this society is way too poor.
因为我没有结婚，面试失败了。
Because I am not married, I failed the interview, and suddenly felt that unemployment is terrifying for women. The interview process at noon actually went quite smoothly. My salary request was the same as my previous company. That was fine. I did not ask for a high salary. It was just that during the manager interview, the other side asked how old I was, and what my marriage plan was. I said I would not get married, and the other side did not say anything. Who knew that today when I asked HR about the interview result? She told me I did not pass. I asked for the reason, and the reason was that they were worried that at my age I would not obey management, and they were also worried that even if I do not get married now, what if there is a change in the future? This position needs someone stable for more than 3 years, someone to fight together and rise together. At that moment, I could not help but laugh in anger, and felt it was very unfair. In reality, many interviewers ask women, how old are you, do you have a marriage partner, when do you plan to get married, when do you plan to have a child? Basically they will revolve around these topics. You say getting married, not okay, you say not having children, also not okay, now you say not getting married, still not okay. They will guess that at your age, you will definitely have changes like getting married and having children. Then since you are like this, why did you still ask me to come for an interview? I suddenly feel that for women over 30, the workplace path is really hard, as if whether you get married or not, whether you have children or not, has become a kind of original sin. Your ability, attitude, and experience are ignored instead. Has anyone experienced this?
Why do I say the ones truly squeezing women's space to survive in the workplace are not men, but rather a certain group among women who shout every day about protecting women's rights? I will give everyone an example, and you'll understand. For example, recently a woman joined a company, and right after she just passed a 3-month probation period, she told the company she was already pregnant. Anyone familiar with labor law would understand immediately. The meaning of this move is basically the same as telling the company, I am ready to lie back and earn your 1 year's salary. Of course, the company did not want to be the sucker, so they fired her on the grounds of failing the probation assessment. As a result, she filed for labor arbitration. Then, according to the court's trial, the notice the company issued, saying she did not meet the hiring conditions, had already exceeded the probation period deadline. Moreover, they did not provide evidence of specific hiring standards or proof that the woman's performance did not match those standards. In short, once the probation period has ended, the company cannot terminate the labor contract. Even if the company has no suitable position to provide to her, it still must protect the lawful labor rights of pregnant female employees and must continue to keep her on payroll. From a legal perspective, what the woman did is absolutely lawful because the law protects the lawful rights of pregnant women, and you cannot fire someone just because she is pregnant. But the problem is, think from the company's perspective. What is this? She calculated the timing, and the moment she became a regular employee, she announced she was already pregnant. Then she just waits to give birth. She worked only a few days, and then she takes a very long leave. For a business, this is no different from fraud. During pregnancy and childbirth, your salary is still paid. So what about your work? Do they hire another employee to replace you? Or distribute it among colleagues who are not pregnant? If they hire another employee, then is the company doing charity, paying your salary for so long for no reason? After you give birth and finish the nursing period, if you resign directly, doesn't that mean the company paid the bill for your childbirth? People who do not know would think you are pregnant with the chairman's baby. If during your maternity period, all your work is distributed among other colleagues, then why should those colleagues work overtime? Does the company also have to violate labor law and make them work overtime? So in the end, pregnancy obviously delays work. Who bears the loss caused by that delay? The original intention of this law was to protect pregnant women from being bullied by companies, but now it has become a loophole for many people to freeload off companies. But the problem is companies are not stupid. They can be tricked once, but they will not be tricked every time. When there are more people like this, women's value in the workplace gets weakened, and even the whole society becomes wary of women as a group. Especially when companies recruit, they will try every possible way to deliberately avoid women. Even for positions that must hire women, they will choose groups who are unlikely to give birth in the short term. So you see, it is not that companies themselves discriminate against women, but after being freeloaded by certain women or after seeing such operations, companies have no way to tell who is here to freeload, so they simply stop hiring women. Before, some people even said, start a company that is all women, imagining that beautiful life. After you see these incidents, think again about a company that is all women. How terrifying would that be?